going into a fitness business when I was younger, my family was like, get a real job. And now they've really recognized it as like, wow, you're doing innovative things, and this is becoming an essential part of people's lives.
The global boutique fitness studio market was valued at $49.3 billion in the year 2021. Now more than ever, people are looking for a sense of community that boutique clubs typically provide. Plus, consumers have come out of the pandemic with a newfound awareness.
Crossover between fitness and wellness is becoming such a bridge gap. So now you've got an educated consumer that understands the why behind fitness and wellness. And so I think it helps, our jobs are becoming easier.
However, there are still unique challenges boutique owners are facing. Economic uncertainty, labor shortages, and changes in consumer habits are all tricky to navigate. Boutique Fitness Solutions is on a mission to educate, connect, and empower boutique fitness businesses.
Help them grow their business, learn how to scale their business, learn how to run their business more profitably. The word of 2023 is profitability.
If you think you're alone, you're not. And I want to say that to everyone, because we can get into our own silos. We can say, okay, how do we get more members in? What are people doing with marketing these days? How are we actually running our operations? We think that we're there and we're doing it alone. So we have mastermind groups where we bring 8 to 10 people into a room and let them share their experiences with each other so they learn from each other.
This March, BFS collaborated with IHRSA. The event featured info sessions to discuss methods to launch, manage, and scale business, and the collaboration with IHRSA also brought industry advocacy to the forefront.
We definitely got the short end of the stick during COVID. I think advocacy is incredibly important.
COVID was a wake-up call, right? And what we found was that despite the fact that we literally help people to cope with their challenges on a day-to-day basis, we didn't have representation in DC or in government when they were giving handouts, so to speak, that helped the industries, everything including the restaurant industry. We weren't really organized in that way. And so we started to think about how do we bring the boutique fitness sector together.
However, BFS does understand there are challenges for boutique owners on this front.
Advocacy is a significant challenge for studio owners because they're generally overwhelmed with day-to-day studio ops, and they find it difficult to make the time to advocate. But you have to advocate because, as Liz Clark likes to say, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And if you think that COVID's over and the emergencies are over and now I can go back to my world, you're sadly mistaken. There's always going to be an issue coming up at the city, state, or federal level that impacts how you run your business, how we operate as an industry. The only way we're going to stop bad legislation from taking place is if the entire industry comes together to advocate.
During the BFS at IHRSA info session, it was emphasized that advocacy can start as simply as creating grassroots relationships with government officials at the local level. It's about getting the message out that fitness is essential. It's a unified voice that emphasizes that this is a business that aids in the epidemics of chronic disease, physical inactivity, and improving mental health. It's also an industry that happens to spark a lot of joy.
The New York Times last summer quoted a study about happiness, and it asked people what are the 3 things that give them the most happiness. And it was sex, exercise, and gardening. So we work in an industry that sells a service that makes people feel the same way they feel after having sex. Why aren't we selling that?
You've just watched All Things Fitness and Wellness, hosted by Chrissy Van. This episode was brought to you by Fitness World. Your fitness, your way. Visit fitnessworld.ca. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. We have new podcast episodes weekly featuring industry thought leaders and influencers. Plus, we're continuing our gym and wellness haven tours featuring inspiring founder stories. We're on a mission for everyone to live a life fit and well.